good at pulling a muscle, picking a bag up. Hey, that's what I told you last time. When I taught that Wednesday night, I said, I hurt my back washing my leg the other day.
I know. Just a little twister and getting out of the car.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Are you ready to start?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Good evening. Let's go ahead and we'll get our service started. Good to see you all out tonight, and we're excited about our mission team to Honduras. We're going to be talking tonight, and I just know that they'll just speak to our hearts and exalt the Lord Jesus Christ. So that's wonderful. In ways of announcements, there's no business meeting tonight. It's been changed to Wednesday night just because of all that was going on this weekend with the free-for-all, and so that's going to be on Wednesday night. And then there's no Michelle, where's she at? There's no EBC Kids kickoff meeting tonight. That's Wednesday either, right?
No, it's not.
Okay, okay. Okay, gotcha. And then EBC's Kids Summer Program will be at 6:30, and Esri has that. Hope Student Ministry at 6 o'clock. Prayer and Bible Study will be in Genesis 6, talking about the flood. Okay, so come out for that. And then, of course, Saturday, Bible Study via conference call to Bobby Thomas. Okay, that's all. Is there any other message? Don't forget, and then next week, too, we have a baptism at 2 o'clock at Jack Frizzell's, and we'll get some information on that for you next week. And then next Sunday night, we'll be having a special fellowship for Holland and Kevin. And so we're just going to miss you guys so much, okay? So you want to come out for that, okay?
So if any of the ladies want to bring anything, let Sue know.
Okay. If anybody wants to bring anything, let Sue know so we'll know what we're having.
If you need to bring something, just let her know what it is.
Okay. Okay. There's what? Oh, Kleenexes. Oh. Wow. BW's.
I've requested fried chicken.
BW's getting. I was going to say, now BW is getting emotional to Kevin now. So, yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Buckets and buckets of fried chicken.
Yeah.
That's a good way for him to not show up, right? Okay. Go ahead and stand. You're going to need your hymnal, though. I didn't put any words on the screen tonight. We got a couple of songs we're going to sing out of the hymnal, just talking about evangelism and missions and sharing. We're going to start with hymn number 569, Make Me a Blessing. Hymn 569. I'll give you a second to turn to that. If you look at the screen, and there won't be anything up there, so hymn 569. Out in the highways and byways of life, many are weary and sad. Carry the sunshine where darkness is rife, making the sorrowing glad. Make me a blessing, make me a blessing. Out of my life, may Jesus shine. Make me a blessing, oh Savior, I pray. Make me a blessing to someone today. Tell the sweet story of Christ and his love. Tell of his power to forgive. Others will trust him if only you prove to every moment you live. Make me a blessing. Make me a blessing out of my life. May Jesus shine. Make me a blessing, oh Savior, I pray. Make me a blessing. you. Be to the helpless a helper indeed. Unto your mission be true. Make me a blessing. Make me a blessing out of my life. May Jesus shine. Make me a blessing. Oh, Savior, I pray. Make me a blessing to someone today. All right, flip over about 10 pages or so, maybe not 10. Hymn number 579. You'll at least be 10 numbers over. And I'm from West Tennessee, and I can figure that out. Hymn 579. We're going to sing the first and the third stanza. This is Miss Leanne's favorite song, if I'm not mistaken, her favorite hymn. So, shine, Jesus, shine. Oh, the light of your love is shining in the midst of the darkness, shining. Jesus, light of the world, shine upon us. Set us free by the truth you now bring us. Shine on me. Shine on me. Shine, Jesus, shine. Fill this land with the Father's glory. Blaze, Spirit, blaze. Set our hearts on fire. Flow, river, flow. Flood the nations with grace and mercy. Send forth your word, Lord, and let there be light. As we gaze on your kingly brightness, so our faces display your likeness, ever changing from glory to glory. Mirrored here, may our lives tell your story. Shine on me. Shine on me. Shine, Jesus, shine. Fill this land with the Father's glory. Blaze, Spirit, blaze. Set our hearts on fire. Flow, river, flow. Flood the nations with grace and mercy. Send forth your word, Lord, and let there be light. All right, you guys go ahead and be seated, and we'll let John and them take over.
This is getting kind of to be like a normal thing for me coming up here recently. I was here this last Wednesday, now I'm here Sunday. So I'm enjoying to get to speak to you guys. We're going to go ahead and present our mission project, not our mission trip, there we go, that we took to Honduras this last month, and just kind of give you an insight into what you can look forward to if next year you guys wanted to come and hang out with me in Honduras in Orphanage Emmanuel. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to show a quick little slideshow of some of the pictures and some of the things that we did, which is really fun. And we're going to then move into time of testimony so that we can go ahead and tell you guys about all the cool things. One of the kind of the interesting things that you're probably seeing is all of us in our matching t-shirts tonight. interesting story behind that is that, I didn't even get us a matching t-shirt on our way out. We decided to do things a little bit backwards because, John, and we got t-shirts now, and if you guys have seen them, if you're looking at them, there's some stuff written on the back, and these are all little it's kind of funny. We were just sitting down and we were talking, and all of a sudden, I'd say something really ridiculous that was like, whoa, that caught everybody out of left field, and they were like, we got to start recording some of these things and just noting them down, because some of these things that that John is saying is pretty funny. But then as time went on, everybody started saying little things that were like, oh yeah, that was pretty funny. And so we should have written on the sides here, maybe it's like you should have been there kind of deal. But we're going to go over our favorite one-liner of that trip. And I think you're going to get a kick out of them if you have a sense of humor, because if you can just imagine the craziness of that trip and me leading a bunch of people in a foreign country, interesting is a really good word for that, but also hilarious. So I really hope that you guys have enjoy what's being said tonight, and that you guys will get inspired, hopefully, to enjoy next year's trip with me. So go ahead and play that little video for me, would you? Into testimonies. Levi's going to go take care of it. Yeah, so slideshow should be up there. Levi, it's under miscellaneous. And it should say Honduras. Not that one. Not that one. Hold on. Levi's going to do it real quick for us. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties.
No popping sounds.
What?
Oh, no.
Oh.
I'm cool.
You're cool? You got it? Okay. Isn't that a beautiful picture, though? You got it? All right, go ahead and play it. So yes, that was Levi hitting a grand slam. He hit it right to Adam. He hit it right to him, just right there. And what was fun about that is you probably saw a bunch of other kids there that were definitely not Honduran, running around screaming, yelling, "Oh yeah! Oh yeah!" We were actually there with another team from California. Our week coincides with another team from the exact area where I grew up and lived at. And it was just an amazing time to be able to be there and to be able to celebrate, the 4th of July with a team with a team that is from California. They're not as weird as you would think they were. They're a really great group, and we enjoyed them a whole bunch, and they were just amazing. So that kind of explains those other kids in the video there. Let's get on to testimonies, okay? So let's go ahead and have the Miller team come on up, and they can go ahead and they will give their testimony.
I need the slideshow and the clicker if we have it. So I volunteered to go first to get this out of the way, because standing up in front of a crowd is not an easy thing to do. This is actually the only picture I took while we were there. Everyone else was taking pictures, and the kids were so enthralled with phones that I left it in my room the whole time. I just got sick of telling them no all the time, and even a watch. They will play with that watch like you wouldn't believe, so you just ended up leaving it in your room to make it that much easier. So to get started, I'm like Brian. I had to write everything down so I'd know what to say so I wouldn't forget, so I've got it all written down. So one of the questions John asked us, the team, while we were there several different times was, why did we go to Honduras? What made you decide to go to Honduras? So initially, when they announced the trip to Honduras, I had no plan to go. The trip was going to happen this year, and I dismissed it as something we would consider to do sometime down the road. So shortly thereafter, one Sunday morning after the service, Alicia, Levi, and I were walking down the hallway to leave, and Levi turned left into the youth room. And I asked Alicia, I said, "Where does he think he's going?" And she said, "Well, he's going to the informational meeting for the trip to Honduras." I said, "Oh, really? Okay." So we proceeded out to the car, and sitting in the car, I asked Alicia, I said, "Is that something that you would have interest in doing sometime?" And she said she would. She actually, it surprised me, she said she'd like to go sometime. So when Andrea came out a little bit later, we discussed it more at home, and we actually decided that we would forego our normal trip to New York to visit family and use that money instead to go on the trip to Honduras. So that's how we decided to go. Is that the right reason to go? I don't know. So a little bit of history with me in missions trips. I've been on a couple missions trips while I was in college. Now, granted, this is probably 25 years ago, just a day or two back. But anyway, I went to Laterno University in Longview, Texas, which is a private Christian school, but they did spring break missions trips into Mexico. And the last 2 years I was there, I decided to go on those missions trips. And the takeaway from that is, on those trips, we were building, like putting concrete floors in churches, helping to build floors. So the takeaway is, when you're leaving, you feel like you've got more of a blessing out of the trip. You just have that feeling of you're actually doing the right thing for once in your life. Just the feeling of accomplishment, blessing, I guess, for lack of a better term. And it'd been a long time since I'd done that. And work, normal life, it gets boring, it gets routine, so why not try something different? So anyway, I never forgot the feeling of accomplishment and blessings for those trips, so when the two kids showed interest, I thought it would be a good experience for them based on my previous experiences. So we decided we were going to go. And we kind of decided before I really looked into the safety of traveling to Honduras. So, me being me, you get on Google and you Google traveling in Honduras and what a person should know, and you can find all sorts of reasons to not go to a place like that. Big cities in particular are not a place for Americans to be. I made the assumption we'd fly into Tegucigalpa, which is the capital city, which is probably the biggest city in the country, which is probably the most dangerous. Fortunately, John flew us into a smaller city. But anyway, my second thoughts were still there. So I kind of talked to Adam a little bit. I talked to John a little bit. I think by then the Greens had committed to going. And if Adam was okay with his wife and daughters going, and if John was okay with taking Jacob, maybe I should be okay with taking my family. So that kind of put me at rest, but still there was a little bit of kind of hesitancy, I guess, in the background the whole time. And going back on that, even the leader from California told us one time, he went through a bunch of statistics of crime, but he was talking about L.A. compared to Honduras, and L.A. was way worse. So odds are we were probably safer in Honduras than maybe in Atlanta or areas of Chattanooga. Who knows? Anyway, so fast forward to a week before we're leaving. Second thoughts start creeping in again. So if I remember correctly, it was rainy most of the week before we left, not the week that we left, the week before. And it just so happened I had a lot of stuff going on at work. We had special visitors coming in, so when that happens, we go crazy with cleanup activities and trying to make the plant look good, just all the basically nonsense it takes to have special guests. So that was going on at work. We were busy at work. I had a few projects at home that I wanted to get done before we left. And the worst thing was our neighbor across the street, who lives alone, ended up getting pneumonia and going in the hospital. He had it pretty bad. I went to see him, I think it was Friday. We'd left the following Thursday. And he was so bad, I was questioning if he was going to make it, if we were going to see him again when we got back. So these second thoughts, timing of the trip, all that, it's kind of the devil working against you to do something like this, but ultimately you forge ahead. Everything worked out. I was able to get done what I needed, and kind of fortunately, Ethan had decided not to go because he was taking summer school. Blessing in disguise, he was able to help Joe transition from the hospital to a rehab facility and all that. So Ethan was home and he was able to help Joe and all that stuff. So all that worked out, if you can imagine that, with anything that God does. So I guess we'll proceed. Let's see. Proceed to slide 2. Let me see if this works. Hey, it did. So, funny story. Alicia had the pleasure of being chosen twice for the random bag checks, I think, coming into the city we flew in and flying out of the city. She, I don't know if you can see it, but she does not have a thrilled look on her face the first time she got selected for the random bag check, but I don't know what she does to be the target for these random bag checks, but she was it. Anyway, so that was kind of funny, just getting started on the trip. Let's see, am I on the right one? So this is just one of the views from the bus ride on the way to the orphanage after getting there. So I put this in here, in particular the picture of John, with the question of who thought it was a good idea to travel with this crew. So I've traveled a lot for work, several times to Japan and China and places like that. And I always plan everything out. I know exactly, the airport, the time between flights, and it's always in a different language, Japanese or Chinese, so I print off the pictures of how stuff's supposed to work and try and figure it out. Well, I didn't do any of this on this trip, and I relied 100% on John. I mean, who does that? Anyway, we did that, and it worked out, because John's more of, to me, a last-minute type of planner, but I will say he did well on this. I think the airplane tickets were half as much as what I anticipated when we started, so believe it or not, John did a pretty good job of planning out the trip. So this was also on the ride to the orphanage. So on the way there, they decided to avoid going through the capital city, partly due to the danger of being in the city, but also they were doing some road construction. Well, this happens to be a dump truck coming at us on a single-lane road, and we're in a school bus. So Andrea actually had a video of that. We squeezed by. I mean, you can see the guy pretty close when you squeeze by. We actually had to back up one time to let another vehicle go through. So we took this shortcut dirt road. I didn't mind it, but it was definitely interesting and a good start to the trip. These are just a few pictures of the towns that we went through, I think, on our shortcut. So the picture on the right shows the bus on a river crossing. So me being me, we've gone over, up and down mountains, and I know the brakes on this bus are hot. And here we go forging across the river, and I'm thinking, what is that cold water going to do to the rotors and drums and whatever's on this bus? I'm thinking, this thing's toast after going through this water, but we made it through. Brakes all worked fine afterwards and everything, so evidently they're heat treated enough to be fine. So day one activities. The first day, Levi and I started out digging fence posts. Of all the exciting things you can choose to do, where they cleaned out the cow area, they wanted to keep the cows out of where the water ends up getting drained out of the area. So it was pretty soft, so we had to dig fence posts around there. Granted, they didn't have any work gloves, so blisters were definitely inevitable from that day. We did the project work most of the time while the kids were in school in the morning, and then in the afternoons we spent with the kids. That afternoon, the guys from Ewtonville played soccer with the medium boys, so that was a lot of fun. And again, I left my phone in the room, so I didn't take many pictures. Pig Day. Pig Day was a day. This was a day like no other. So evidently John had previously been the jefe or boss of the pig barn or the farm or whatever. And when he saw the farm on the first day, he realized there was something like 30 pigs that were at size or oversized, should have been harvested at this point. So it was decided we're going to try to harvest 5 of them in one day. And I'm like, John, are you crazy? 5 pigs in one day? He said, oh yeah, it's no problem. We ended up getting 4 that day. But anyway, Levi, Adam, John, and myself got to start out in the pig barn, wrangling the pigs. We realized quickly that pigs are not designed for lassos, which is one of the quotes on the shirt. They definitely go better backwards than forwards, because John taught us the bag trick for a slippery pig, another quote that's on the shirt. So you put a feed bag over the pig's head and you pull the pig backwards. And when you do that, that tail makes a heck of a handle for pulling the pig, and they go a lot better backwards than they do forwards. So we learned a lot based on John's experience. So once we got the pigs down into the slaughterhouse, the middle picture, that's slaughtering the pig. I won't go through the details of that. But once the pig was gutted, the ladies kind of took over cutting up the meat on the table. So Alicia, Andrea, Yenny, and Danielle spent time at the cutting table. And also later on, I think some of the guys helped out at the cutting table too. Another random quote of the day. While Alicia was cleaning up, I think it was Danielle that told her, "Be careful, there's a kidney behind you." So. Let's see. Day 3 was church. I skipped a page. Sunday was church day, so church service in the morning, and then the afternoon was playing baseball, the clip that John showed with the boys in the afternoon. So that was a lot of fun. Next day, this is just some random pictures of the girls, our girls enjoying their girls. I don't remember what day 4 is, Monday, let's see. So I think this was also paint day, let me see. So this might be Monday, paint day, with some of the kids, and then I think paint day was the second day. Paint day was not my favorite day. Let me preface this by saying I hate painting. Interior painting, trimming, all that stuff, I hate it. And when John said painting was one of our activities, I'm like, "John, surely there's something better we can do than paint." But John reminded me there's a lot of buildings and a lot of stuff at Orphanage Emmanuel, and it needs painted. So we're here to help, so get over yourself and paint, basically is what he said. But anyway, the first day we painted, several of the younger kids from the California team joined us. And if you've ever tried to paint with teenagers, that makes it even worse. I probably didn't have the best attitude, but while I was maybe grumbling inside, I was doing my thing, but I was not really engaged with anybody. I was just trimming and painting. I heard Adam working with the kids, and that was kind of a lesson to me to maybe, again, it's not about you type of thing. But Adam, was truly showing the correct attitude and working with those kids and trying to guide them and doing the right thing that day. So that was a little bit of a humbling lesson for me on that day. We did get a second paint day in. I think that might have been Tuesday. I'm not sure. Anyway, Tuesday was 4th of July day, so we celebrated 4th of July that day. A picture of our afternoon Pictionary game before supper. So that Pictionary game was also the source of many quotes that ended up on that shirt, so some of the random things. I think one of Andrea's favorite days was Wednesday. This is actually our last day of actually doing and being with the kids. So she started out the morning in the bakery. I think, what'd they make? Rolls and donuts or something. So instead of painting, she got to have fun doing what she loves to do, cooking and baking and doing that sort of thing. So she had a great day doing that. And then I think the girls got to see the sunset in the evening. The guys had a Wednesday evening service, and we played dodgeball with the boys that night, so we missed the sunset. So that day, for me also, was one of my favorite days. Watto was the farm boss. Wednesday morning, he actually came up to the house. Fortunately or unfortunately, I had the pleasure of waking up probably before anyone else in our house, and it was usually due to the kitchen was beside us and the rattling of pans and everything else that was going on. Funny side note, if you've ever got the chance to wake up John or Adam in the morning, you will never forget that experience. John will come out of bed swinging, and Adam had the biggest look of surprise on his face I think I ever saw, like, "Who are you and why are you waking me up?" type of thing. So, and I think it was their wives who put me up to doing that, so just to see what kind of reaction they would get. But anyway, so before breakfast, Watto shows up at the house and said, "Hey, I need help making chicharrones." Does anybody know what chicharrones are? Pork rinds, basically. So we got to get this frozen pig stuff out of the freezer, take it to the bandsaw, saw it up into itty-bitty little slices, and then take it to the table and cut it up into basically pork rind-sized bites, and then they were cooking it on a fire outside, and I think they cooked some in our kitchen also. So this is all before breakfast, mind you, and the ladies, thankfully, saved us a few plates of food that we got to come back and eat after cutting up these chicharrones first thing in the morning. So after breakfast, I'm not sure how much we ate that day, but anyway, after breakfast, the welding, that was actually me welding. Funny thing is, I fit in their coveralls. I don't know how that worked out, but they actually fit quite well. Anyway, there was on the pig barn, imagine that, the door had a part of the latch mechanism was broke off, so I got to weld that out, get that fixed up for them. So kind of doing more what I like to do instead of painting, but like I said, it's not about me. Let's see. I think the next slide is just some random pictures of the kids and everyone else. So this quote on the wall, and I think we had mentioned it in one of our pre-trip meetings that we needed to be flexible. So I don't know if you can read it or not, but it says, "It's all about Jesus. It's not about you. Be flexible. It's wholly about Jesus. It's still not about you. Be flexible. It's completely about Jesus. It was never about you. Be flexible. It's entirely about Jesus." This is something I had to remind myself while we were painting. Let's see. I went through the painting story. So my flexibility and my patience were being tested. And again, Adam was the shining light to me in that situation while he was working with the kids. So again, why did I go? So like I said earlier, Levi started the process. Try something different for the experience. Do the next right thing. Why not go? Was it because of my Mexico experience? So again, why did I go? And this isn't in the slides. So one of the devotions I read, it wasn't actually the one John gave us, it was one of the ones I read on myself throughout the week. The title was "Live as Those Made Alive in Christ." And it was from Colossians 3, and I shared this with the team in one of our team meetings. "Since then, you have been raised with Christ. Set your hearts on things above where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above, not on earthly things." And that's something we as Americans probably get focused on too much, is the earthly things. "For you died, and your life is now hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you also will appear with him in glory." And then another verse that John shared with us, it's probably too hard to see. I think this was one he shared with us throughout the week. James 1:22-27. "Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in the mirror and looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. Those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues deceive themselves, and their religion is worthless. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is to look after the orphans and widows in their distress and keep oneself from being polluted by the world. And it's easy to get polluted by the world working in corporate America and all the nonsense that goes on with what's going on today. So that to me was a reason for going, was kind of to get refocused on what's important. So switching gears, back to what John said, our favorite saying for the week. Like he said, most of them you had to be there to understand. One of my favorites was with Watto, the farm boss. One afternoon, we went to town. John had some money to buy supplies and stuff for him, which they needed. like the gloves. So I did end up getting blisters on fence post day, but then we had the gloves on the day I was using the grinder, and the grinder happened to catch and flip around and hit that glove, and thankfully it didn't cut my finger. So the glove did its thing, so it was a good thing we went and bought those supplies. But anyway, the line from that day, from that was, gas is gas, we're going to the Texaco station. So the backstory on that is, we had borrowed a truck to go to town, and when we pulled out of the orphanage, John realized the gas gauge was on E. So he said, before we come back, we need to get gas. Okay. So the first gas station after we got our supplies was an Uno station in town. Watto says, we can't get gas there. They sell bad gas. So John's like, okay. So John proceeded to head out of town to find a different gas station. Upon finding a Puma station, did we pull into the Puma station?
Yes, we tried.
So keep in mind, Watto's in the very back of the truck, in the bed of the truck. And so they're communicating, yelling back and forth. And again, Watto says, we need to go to the Uno station on the outside of town, not this gas station. So back on the road we went in search of the perfect gas station. So the next one we came to me, looked like the perfect gas station because it looked like a brand new Texaco station. I thought, surely they've got good gas at the Texaco station, but nope, that wasn't good enough. Keep going, he said. So we proceeded, I think through one of the checkpoints with the armed military guy, police or whatever they are, out of town to where we finally realized there wasn't another gas station. I mean, we're out in the country. So John pulled over to turn around. And as we're pulling back out, John yells back to Watto, and I think he did it in Spanish. He said, gas is gas, we're going to the Texaco station. We're not just looking anymore for this perfect gas station. So we ended up at a Puma station, the one that we had stopped at earlier. Did you fill it up?
Yeah, we filled it up.
Filled it up. Guess what didn't move? The needle on the gas gauge. So the gas gauge didn't even work. So it probably had gas anyway. But anyway, that was my story on the one-liner. So remember that, gas is gas, and the Texaco or the Puma station is okay. So, who's next?
So I'm not like Dad and Pastor Brian, so it's all up here, so bear with me. But my overarching memory from the trip was probably just the happiness that these kids had. So my favorite thing that we did there was when we'd get up early in the mornings and we'd go sit with the kids when they ate their breakfast. The first day was a little awkward. They were talking Spanish, we were English, we didn't know each other. But as the week went on, like the third day, they'd see you. I was with medium boys, and they'd see you and they'd raise their hands. But Levi, they'd wave to you, come sit over here with us. And so it got me thinking, like, these kids, they have all the reason in the world not to be happy. They have all the reason in the world to be resentful. You know, they don't have parents to raise them, people that love them, and yet they're just so happy to see you, to come sit with them. You get up early and eat breakfast with them. It's like got me thinking, like, here in America, what's a bad day look like for us? You know, something doesn't go our way at work. You make a bad test grade, something like that. And these kids have every reason to not be happy, and they choose to be happy and excited to see you. And so that was just a big thing. It got me thinking throughout the week is, why can't I be happy all the time? These kids have nothing, and yet they're just so happy. And so that's probably my biggest takeaway. So I would just say that Ed and Martha, whenever they did the Christmas boxes for the kids, our family, we did what, four or five each time or something like that. And you knew it was for the kids in Emmanuel, but you didn't know the kids. You didn't have that personal connection. And so going there and just seeing how excited the kids are, that people would take time and to spend money on them and to get them things and just see how happy they were. It was really eye-opening for me. And who was it that shared the story about the Christmas last year? Yeah, the medium boys group. So last year, I think they got, like, was it 3 soccer balls was all they got, and some clothes that didn't fit. And that was just sad to me. Like, these boys, like, we'd go and play soccer with them, and they're the happiest people. They loved playing with you. And last year, all they got was 3 soccer balls. And so that was surprising to me. But it was just amazing to see that this church supports that, and just to see that money, how much good it goes to. Because when we went to town that day, like, in the orphanage, you wouldn't realize you're in a third world country. Like, everything there was pristine. Like, there was one picture of the wood shop, and I'm a woodworker, and their wood shop was top of the line everything. And so it was just really cool to see just how nice everything was. Because when we were going on the trip before, John said, whatever picture you have in your mind, it's probably not going to be accurate. It's going to be a lot nicer than you think. And so when we got there, I was, like John said, I was shocked how nice it was. I think Adam might have said it. So you go to town, it's like third world country, but then the orphanage, like the Taj Mahal of the area, it was super nice. So it was just amazing to see how the support that this church and other churches, how it goes to that area and how nice it is. So I would just say thank you for supporting that, and can't wait for next year. So.
Once again, not a public speaker, but you know. So I just wrote this down. I'm going to read straight from it. It says, in our time at Emmanuel, we made many memories. Some of them were happy memories of playing with the kids and seeing the smiles on their faces when we spent time with them or brought them snacks from the tienda. Some of them are funny memories which came from our evening games of Pictionary. We have sad memories of when we had to leave, but we also have gross memories, which are from the slaughterhouse. That was an experience. My favorite line from the shirt was pig juice. As you can imagine, it came from Pig Day. Us ladies were cutting up the meat, and the Hondurans working at the table behind us kept flopping the pig parts around on the table, and pig juice was splattering all over us. It was not my favorite part of the trip, but sure was memorable. Apart from that, I'm almost jealous from the kids at Emmanuel. They don't have the pressures of society and the distractions we do here in the U.S. They live in a beautiful place surrounded by people who love the Lord and provide them with what they need. I'm so thankful for the time I got to spend there, forgetting about all the stresses of life and just loving on the... What? It was an incredible experience to be able to serve and love on the children at Emmanuel. My time at Emmanuel will definitely be a time I remember and would love to do again.
Well, that was fun. Okay, I don't have a prepared statement or anything, but I'm so thankful that our family got to do this, together. Like, sad that we missed out Ethan going with us, but it all worked out for the best. Lots of fun memories made. Pig Day was not my favorite day. Pig juices, something I yet know. The baking day was good. Spending time with the kids, they were fun. Different age kids, you have different kinds of fun with. The older girls, they like to go to the tienda all the time. The little kids just want to play with you. They just want to hold your hand and, come play with me on the swing, and whatever. And lots of fun bonding time with our team. I don't have a favorite from the back of the shirt. They're just all, you had to be there because, read the shirt, you'll understand. So I just want to thank the church for supporting this, allowing us to go, helping us financially, and, it's a wonderful ministry that needs to keep on happening. So if you have the opportunity and you can go, we'll see you next year.
Can y'all see me? Barely. Okay. I'm going to go first for my family because I don't know what Adam has planned. I don't even think he did plan, but we'll see. We'll see what comes out. But the girls, theirs are really impactful, so I wanted them to go last. But a lot of the things Andy did already hit on, but the whole experience was wonderful. I would say life-changing in many ways. We will definitely be going back at some point because we left part of our heart there. Absolutely. The Lord blessed this trip from the traveling, a few glitches here and there, but nothing major. Everything went fairly smooth. We had minor little health issues, but nothing major. So his hand was upon it for our travel and health and all that. So that was wonderful. I can't say more great things about this team. This team was like, you know the phrase, what is it? Teamwork makes dream work. Everybody worked together well. Everybody had a great attitude. Even the younger, you know, Jacob and Lily and even Taylor, Levi and Alicia, everybody was, you know, they didn't complain. They, everybody worked together well. Got along great. Everybody was a good sport. We had lots of bonding moments. Definitely bonding. If you know the Millers, you know there are big games involved and they're very competitive. So everybody had to be a good sport there. Although I think Adam got made fun of more than anybody, and that was probably from me. But he's brilliant at many things, but he can't draw very well. So, but it was fun. It was fun. Our Pictionary was fun. At the end of each day, we went to what was called the living room area of our team house, the Lasta. Is that what it's called? Sala. Okay. And John would ask us the highs and lows for the day, give us the plan for the next day, which was never really the plan for the next day. Be flexible. That was the main thing. Be flexible. But everybody, I couldn't have asked to go with a better group of people between the Perez family and the Miller family. It was great, so thankful for that. The orphanage, like they were saying, you know, you're in the city outside, and it's just what you think, third world country, and then you go through the gates, and it's like a little piece of heaven there on earth. I mean, it's almost like a vacation. It's so beautiful, except the work projects you do, and there's no air conditioner and that kind of stuff. But other than that, it's a beautiful area, and it's so well maintained. So a little bit about what I did. As soon as we got back, everybody wanted to know. They had heard about the pigs. Danielle, did you actually help with the pigs? I actually saw Pam turn around and looked at me earlier when he said my name. I helped with the pigs. I sure did. I'm in some of the pictures for proof. But I did not want to do that. He told us that's what we were going to do, and I thought about it, and I said, well, it's a need, and that's why I'm here. I can do this. So, and then too, if you know my dad or my brother, growing up with them, I've seen a lot of stuff between the deer and, you know, so I was like, I can handle this. I can do it. Got ready. We get up there, and whew, the smell hits you, and the substances running out of the steps before you even enter the building. And I'll save a lot of the really gross details, but I sort of second guessed myself, but I hung in there. I will tell you though, you know, you're thinking a pig, or I was. No, these are big pigs, big girls, big smelly girls. And the floors were really, really slippery for different reasons, the different things on the floors. If I had to do it over, I had Chacos and tennis shoes, and I thought, well, wear Chacos because at least I can, you know, wash those off easy, more than tennis shoes. But if I had to do it over, I would have wore like full waders, you know, because of the juices and all the things that, the pig juice. But anyway, pretty sure that slaughterhouse would not pass inspection here in America. Equipment was not ideal. Our knives were not great. That saw thing you were using, that was scary. I thought he was going to lose his hand. And as you can imagine, the smell, like I said. But I hung in there, and I did it. And it kept getting, you know, it was after breakfast, kept getting later in the day, closer to lunch. Started not feeling great, a little queasy. Again, it smelled, the heat of the day, no air conditioner. And I thought, okay, Lord, I'm trying. I'm really trying. You just had to take yourself away, your mind away from what you were actually doing. And then two of the California crew came, and they said, Danielle, we need you. Taylor's gotten ant bites all over her feet, and then we've taken her to the nurse. And I was like, I should probably go. I should go check on her. So I went, and thankfully Taylor was fine. I mean, she wasn't allergic to them or anything. It was no big deal. Later in the week, I actually got bit by the same ants after telling Andrea, be careful, there's ants there. And then I 2 seconds later forgot about it and got bit too, and it was no big deal. So, but so the Lord provided in my time of need. So it was traumatic, but I did it. So we can do hard things. But like I said, it was a need. So I participated in that. Some of the other things, like Andy said, painting. We painted, I think, 3 bathrooms while we were there. The medium girls' bathroom, the special needs girls' house bathroom, and then one of the living houses for a family that was going to be coming to serve. Also I was going to mention, after the pig day, that evening we did all get a very great shower when the skies opened up and poured rain on us during our tour. Yeah, we were debating, should we go back, should we not? And I think Levi said, let's keep going. And then we got drenched, so. But that cleaned off the pig juice, so we were good to go after that. We helped in the kitchen some. We got up really early, helped chop some vegetables, something like squash. I don't know what the name of it was, but we helped serve lunch one day, dipping out the bowls. We got to feed the babies at the baby house, so that was fun. Change some diapers. Much better than pigs. I'll do that any day. The little kids especially, or the kids in general, I feel like really loved Lily and Jacob, because I'm sure a lot of the visitors they get are adults or teens, youth groups, so they really, I feel like, gravitated towards the younger kids, closer to their age. But out of all of that, obviously, the main reason we went was to just love on those kids. We painted nails. We made bracelets, they braided hair, we'd take them treats from the store or the tienda, like they had mentioned, and that obviously was the best part of the whole trip by far. We enjoyed time of worship. I believe it was Friday night we had a worship in the gym with just our team, the California team, and the staff there at Emmanuel, and that was really wonderful. But our church service day was with all the kids, and very, very moved by that. If you've ever got to experience anything like that, half of it was in Spanish, but the spirit is still there. You don't have to understand all the words to feel that, and I kind of got that same experience when we went to Nicaragua, and just the way that they worship. They're not bogged down, I don't think, by all the distractions that we have here in America, and they just worship so freely, and that was just really amazing to be a part of that. My biggest takeaways, my girls really blessed me on this trip, and they're going to share, and you'll see why, just kind of what they got to experience and what they brought away from it. And I'm really proud of them. Also in the future, so they have a dental clinic there and a team that goes, I think, from Red Bank in February. But they were kind enough to open the clinic for me to let me prowl around and see what they have and do all that. Those of you that don't know, I'm a hygienist, and I worked in pediatric dentistry for 16 years. So that's kind of my thing. So who knows? That may be something in the future that I could help out with going back. But the funny thing is, God took me to another country to help me realize something right here at home, right here in front of my face, and that's the EBC kids. I think this year will be starting 7 years that I've helped with that program, and I'll be honest, confession time, the last 2 I've really questioned, is this still what I want to do? Is this still, and most of you guys here know, but the majority of those kids that come on Sunday night, of course the church family kids go, some parents drop off, but the majority of them come on vans from the community. And the sad reality is a lot of them, their home lives are not ideal by any means, and they're going through a lot. And with that comes a lot of misbehavior and foul language and bullying and fighting and little to no respect for adults or their teachers, or a lot of you in here help, so you know. And it just kind of gets to be a lot. And I was questioning, is this something, I still want to continue with? And of course, Taylor's been in youth for a few years, and then Lily is going into youth now. She's going into 7th grade, so I don't have kids in the program anymore. I've served my time. Maybe I'm just going to go on. So there's that. That was on my mind leaving home. And then, so the kids at the orphanage, God gosh, they're so easy to love on. They're just, I really don't know how to explain it, but their physical needs are really well taken care of. I didn't really know what to expect on that part, but they're well fed, they're clean, they've got cute clothes, they're going to school, they're going to church, they're being taught all these things, but what they really lack is just some individual attention from an adult. Everything they do is in a big group. And yes, they have leaders, but they're over lots of kids at once, and they just need somebody to talk to them specifically, spend time with them, ask them questions. And the Lord revealed to me, hey, those EBC kids are not that different than those, kids in Honduras. And so I'm excited for this next year, Michelle. So let's go. All right. And then, of course, I do want to thank the church, and, of course, we will still support any way we can. We're still debating as a family how many kids we want to support or sponsor and stuff like that. But also, as you pray for the kids, remember the staff as well, because my eyes were open to a lot that they need and that kind of stuff, too, because it's not an easy job either. So, all right, I'll be quiet now and who's coming up? Lily? Okay.
Okay, so before I start really talking about the things that I planned, I wanted to share some moments that I probably won't forget anytime soon. So one of the things I can remember is we were with the California group because me and Taylor did not want to be anywhere near the pigs. And so we were playing with the older girls, and the California group's like, "What's wrong with your foot, Taylor?" And so she got bitten by a lot of ants, like 30. And so they're like, "Oh no, let's take you to the nurse." And so we came to the nurse, and she's like, "Are those little black ants?" And Taylor's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You're gonna need a shot for that." And so the California group was freaking out. They're like, "Can we get you medicine, ice, and all this stuff?" And me and Taylor were just staying there like it's just an ant, but we didn't go back to the nurse, and Taylor didn't get a shot, and it was fine. But then another thing is when I came into over with the medium boys, for some reason they called me gymnastics girl, and I don't do gymnastics. I'm not flexible. And they're like, "Where's gymnastics girl?" And Levi, he spent a lot of time with them, and yeah, they would always laugh and talk in Spanish, and yeah. And then it seemed like everywhere we went, Jacob got attacked by every group there, like every group, and even the babies. This Carlos, man, he was a mean 3-year-old, but yeah, he really liked to attack Jacob. And then the babies were awesome. They're so fun and they're so sweet. One, Mia, she's on my phone, and I don't think I'll ever take her off, but she's so sweet, and leaving her was very hard. Me and Mom were crying, and she was crying, and if I could go back, I'd go straight to her, even though she doesn't even know that I'd been there. She'll probably forget. She probably doesn't know me. But then one time we were with the older girls, and we brought them drinks, and there was one sitting outside, and Yenny later told me that she had anger issues, and she wasn't with the special needs because they couldn't defend themselves, so she had to be with the older girls. And so a few days later, we walked out of the place where they ate, and she was sitting over there, and I looked, and I kind of smiled, and I was slowly walking away, and I turned back again, and she was walking very fast towards me, and I kind of had a mini panic attack that she was going to punch me in the face. I was really scared, but she came over, and she gave me a big, long hug, and she walked away smiling, and so that just made me feel very special, and because I really thought she was going to beat me up, but she didn't, and she turned out to be really nice. But John's stories at night, that was really fun hearing about his love life with Yenny. That was really fun. Every night we were all super tired talking about pig juice, like every night. And yeah, that was really fun. And Pictionary, for some reason, they decided to give me an easy one, which was National Day of the Seal. So, yeah, it's a holiday. It's like March. What is it, Alicia? 15th. So you can celebrate it if you want, if you like seals. And then we were with the girls, probably about 7, and Mom was sitting with them, and she had her phone out, and they looked at this picture of me, or this video of me opening Christmas presents, and it's like they weren't jealous. They laughed because I was screaming so loud because I got a sewing machine. And they'd run up to me and they'd say, "Lily," and they'd say, "You." And I was like, "Yeah," and they thought that was really awesome for some reason. But okay, so now is the stuff that I plan to say. Okay. One thing I can say about the trip to Emmanuel is, wow, I never thought I'd get to do something like that in my life. And today I wanted to share a few things I felt God has shown me. Number 1 is don't take things for granted. A lot of times we can take simple things like water bottles and think of it as trash, but these kids can turn a water bottle into 50 games. And I never really thought of it as a game, but these kids think it's the best thing ever. These kids would just come up and love on you, people they never knew, people from a different country, and they act like they've known you their whole lives. It's super easy to love on these kids, but a lot of times we struggle on loving on the people who we live with or who love us. We take people, friends, and family for granted. Another thing I realized is God is in control. He's above all the evil of the world. In those gates that were guarded, it felt like an amazing place where you didn't have a single worry. And when you stepped outside, it's like all the evil just comes back. And God shows me that He's really in control. He's above all the things we worry about. These kids don't worry about stuff. They don't worry about anything that we worry about. And if they don't, why should we? The third thing He showed me is love has no language. I felt so loved from these kids. And every morning waking up, walking outside to their yards, and them just saying, "Lily, Lily, Lily," and they hugged on me and pulled me and talking to me in a different language. I had no idea what they were saying, but when I look back now, it feels like I had a whole conversation, and it's like I knew them very well. And that's something I'll never forget is how much these kids want love and how much they can give to you. The fourth thing is, it's not about me. It's not about what I wanted to do. It's about what God wanted to show me and what He wanted to show the kids there. A lot of times I want to go my way, but I need to go God's way, and I really need to stop worrying about me. And when I need to think about God's plan and not be so self-centered. It's easy to think about me and just think about what would happen to me. It's like your life is centered around you, but we're not supposed to serve ourselves. We're supposed to serve others and God. And the fifth thing is, I don't do good inside of slaughterhouses, and I'm much better with little babies. So that's one thing I wanted to share with y'all, and I hope you enjoyed. And I know Emmanuel has changed my life, and I want you to know that there's a lot of evil in the world, but if you look around, there's still a lot of good things left. Thank you.
So while I was in Honduras, I journaled every night about what we did during the days, and then when I got back, I wrote a little summary of the whole trip, and so that's what I'm going to read to you. I don't know where to start. I don't even think I can write what I felt on this trip. Honduras was such a blessing and experience. I'm so grateful I was able to go. The plane rides were a lot of fun, seeing all the views of God's creation. The bus ride to the orphanage was crazy. We rode on a tiny dirt road for what felt like 4 hours. There was really pretty mountains and the sunset was beautiful, but some of the parts were sad, like the little houses and skinny animals. I never really stopped to think about how some people have to live. We are really blessed here. I had mixed emotions as we got closer and closer. I was nervous. I didn't know what the kids would think of me. Why did God allow me to be there? But I was also really excited. I couldn't wait to meet everyone and see what God would show me and how He would use me, leaving my safe place to go love on people who don't even speak the same language. The town was a little scary, and I was starting to think the orphanage wasn't what people had said. But then we finally got there. After all the traveling and waiting, we get there. The first look was kind of breathtaking. The place looked wonderful. I was already in love with it after about 10 seconds. All the kids were asleep, and we got to go to what's called the team house where we stayed. As I walk up, on the wall is a painting that says, "It's not about you." It kind of hit me like, yeah, it's not about me. This trip isn't to show off or make me feel special. It's about these kids, and it's about Jesus. And that's what I really needed to hear. So Andy said it, but I'll read it again. It's all about Jesus. It's not about you. Be flexible. It's wholly about Jesus. It's still not about you. Be flexible. It's completely about Jesus. It was never about you. Be flexible. It's entirely about Jesus. We wake up early to go see the kids for the first time. Ready for this or not, we went. The cafeteria was full of the kids eating their breakfast, and they watched us come in. Then John said, "Go." No time to think or process what I'm about to do, just go. Love on these kids I've never seen. It was a little out of my comfort zone to leave the group and find some kids. I was thinking, like, where am I supposed to sit? But these kids took me in. I didn't have to find them, they found me. A little girl named Victoria scooted over and motioned for me to come sit by her. She was mute, so she couldn't talk or say hello or anything, but she held my hand while we prayed, and she wanted lots of hugs. They were so sweet, and we got lots of hugs and kisses throughout the week. They sang and danced, did my nails, brushed my hair. I learned real fast that even though we couldn't communicate, we could still love just as much. Those girls took me in and loved me how I was. I mean, they cleaned the nail polish off my toes, and like John told me, people in our own youth group won't even touch each other's feet. They wanted me to paint their toenails. They had been barefoot and dirty, but I didn't care anymore. The girls were so full of love and joy. I thought I was going just to love on them, but I got so much in return. Something I'll always keep in my heart is how the girls would tell me I was beautiful every day. This one little girl named Hennessy touched my face and made me look at her and made sure I heard, "You are beautiful." It meant so much to me because I have a hard time believing that. We all have insecurities and things we don't like about ourselves, but they didn't care what we looked like. They took us in and loved us. I learned a lot from watching and being with those kids. If you fall down, you get back up. If you were there, you know how tough they were, but what I got out of it was they have many reasons to be down. It's hot, they don't have their family. They probably want better meals. Sorry. They can pack everything they have in just one blanket, and I watch them do it. But they don't stay down. They sing and they play and they love. And most beautiful of all, they praise Jesus. On Sunday, we got to go to the church, and it was so beautiful, so powerful, and so moving to hear all the kids and staff singing. God is always working, and he will never fail. One day we will all be together again singing in heaven. They stay strong and sing through the storms that come their way, just like we should do. I can't forget about the babies. They were so sweet. They loved being held and played with. We got to feed them and love on them. It was amazing. Some people think that the best part is the babies, but when you're there, you just want to spend time with everyone. The kids are so fun to be around and love on. They all look so different and have different personalities, some shy, some wild, and some very wild. You get so attached as the week goes on. At one point, I had like 6 of the little girls lined up on the bench, and they would take turns falling into my arms as I would twirl them around, and they laugh. I just never wanted to leave. It was all too good. Like a tiny piece of heaven inside those walls. It starts to feel like home. Everything was love and joy. Well, except the slaughterhouse. I could be perfectly fine to never see that again. The 10 minutes I was there was enough. But I never went one day without a hug. As the week came to an end, the kids start to hang on to you a little longer. They start to get sad, and we do too. I had a hard time thinking about all the things I had to do when I got back, because I never wanted to leave, although I know I'd miss things here. I felt like there I could do what I'm supposed to do, love and serve others. That was one of the best and most memorable vacations because it was my family vacation. It wasn't a beach or cabin vacation, not a relaxing or tropical vacation, but it was a vacation from serving myself to serving others. A week without air conditioning, a week without TV, drama, sports, stress, and helping myself. It was a week of love and thanking God. He has adopted us all. A piece of my heart was left there. I've never cried leaving a vacation, but we got so attached and then had to say goodbye and drive out of those walls back to reality. It was the hardest part. I said goodbye to my favorite baby, and he waved by and ran to the fence and stuck his hand out, but I had to walk away. It wasn't what I thought at all. I thought we would eat beans and rice for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but the food was great. I thought it would look like one big jail place, like in movies, but it was beautiful, and it had so much. I don't know why I worried about any of it. God was in control of the whole trip. The truth is, those kids see groups all the time and might not remember me, but that's okay. I was blessed and got so much from it that I'll never forget. We left and our mission was accomplished. I'm so thankful I got to take a week away from my summer to serve those more important. I think I've learned a lot: to love more, have faith, be selfless, be flexible, and realize it was never about me. I know I won't be perfect at doing these things, but I never want to forget that place, those kids, and the feelings. And just sitting with the group after a long day, sharing our highs and lows and talking and laughing, it was an experience I never want to forget. If only the whole world could be like that place, but it's not, and I'm back now. We got back at 2:30 a.m., but I randomly felt like unpacking everything I brought, so I got in bed at like 4 a.m. I have the kids as my screensaver, and every time I look at it, I miss them, but thank you all for the prayers. I want to finish with a verse that I saw from all the people at the orphanage that I want and will keep trying to be like. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. Thank you.
I might as well go sit back down after that. I know I can't top that. I'll make this short. I know you've heard about most of the days, but I did have a few takeaways. And to Andy's point, just talking about why we went, just hearing my two girls say that's why we went. So mission accomplished for me. Just a couple takeaways for me. One I had was unity. Not only with the people there, we served the Lord with a group from California and from across in a different country. We were all serving the same God, and that was powerful to see that. Not to mention our team, the bond that we developed and the time we got to spend together. That was powerful for me, and just to see that unity at work, all the different skills and talents brought there. The painting day, I remember that totally different than what Andy was saying. I don't think I had the patience that he described. It may be a little more intense in my mind than the way he pictured that, but I would rather be in the slaughterhouse than painting. So I didn't mind that bad. So, but the kids, I was very proud not only of my own two girls, but all of the youth that went, the way they embraced those children and just jumped in, like you said, didn't complain. They did great. Jacob did great. I mean, everybody, all the youth that went, I was very humbled by their attitudes. We've talked about flexibility and patience. It took a lot of that. I have that saying that Andy and Taylor both mentioned on my phone as a screensaver to remind me of that flexibility. And that patience was not always easy to come by. But one of the big takeaways for me was just seeing the changes, so we talked about a lot of this with John, just seeing him, because we talked about him being over the farm, and he had built that program, if you will, for years when he was there, and to go back and see how, maybe it wasn't being done to the way he had set it up. Not only that, but others that had built that orphanage, so the support, many from our church that have went down and physically built things or supported that. Many of you have done that. Dr. Reynolds, who many of you have heard about, who really supported that. And so what really stuck in my mind is the next generation, who's going to take that over. I see Ed and Martha back there too, a big part of that. We're that next generation, who's going to take that. And so not only there at the orphanage, but this church, it just kept going through my mind. I see many of you here who built this church, whether it be spiritually or physically built the church. I can see how you see us or somebody like me coming in and making mistakes and not knowing what I'm doing, but the patience that you have on trying to teach and bring us up it gives me a different perspective seeing that. So one, I want to thank all of you who have supported that over the years and who allowed us to go, and it was just a very great experience. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Yenny. I think everyone knows me well. I'm very thankful for, I don't know if I get through this. God has really blessed me so much with a very loving church, and thank you for the group that went with us. I am blessed. I don't know if I can say much, but this is one of my favorite verses. Even if my father and my mother abandon me, the Lord will hold me close. And that's what God has done to me. He has hold me close with so many people that loves me. The orphanage took me in when I was 16 years old. My mother has abandoned me when I was 10 years old. Sorry, I'm going backwards. Anyway, that's my home, and that's the people that you went to visit. That's the people I love. They are my brothers and sisters. There's my mom and dad, and I was so honored to see them and to love on them. I cried when I first saw them. One thing that I want to say for all of you is that love your kids with your heart. Sometimes you feel like, you have your kids with you, but sometimes they might feel abandoned. So kids are important. Being abandoned is not a great thing. But God was there with me through everything, and I am grateful for an amazing husband. God had given me a man of God, a godly man. I'm grateful for my son. I love them so much. God had given me an amazing family, an amazing church. I love you all. Thank you for your support. Thank you.
It's my turn. Hi, my name is Jacob, and my dad is right there. My mom is Yenny, over there. And I was born in Honduras, and I lived there until I was 2, and then I left. And I haven't gone back since the mission trip. I really enjoyed going there, and that was my first mission trip. And I'd like to say thank you to everybody who sponsored this trip and just gave money for all of this to happen. So when I was there, some of the favorite things that we did there was like going to the slaughterhouse and the pig barn, and like they mention a lot, so it's kind of hard to think of new things. And like the baby house was kind of fun for me because like whenever I went there was like 4 kids that always attracted to me. I remember 2 of them, Carlitos and Harrison. Harrison's my favorite one. I really wanted to adopt him, but yeah. Yeah, he's the one. Yeah. So all 3 of them, they would always come on top of me. Whenever I was on the couch, they would like, all 3 of them would pull on my leg at once and just like try and pull me off the couch. And so that was fun, trying to deal with them. Another one of my favorite parts was like seeing like the smiles on their faces whenever we would bring them soda, just like a little cup of soda, make their day, and playing soccer with them. That was a good, fun time, and just so fun to see how they reacted to us. And I just like, this mission trip was like awesome, and I really like to go again, so thank the Lord for helping us with this.
Well, now I'm going to go ahead and get into my sermon. You guys will be here for another 45 minutes. Joking. Guys, I don't need to say anything else. You can tell by these testimonies what kind of trip it was. I encourage you to think about maybe being a part of the next trip. And if that's something that you feel like that's not going to be for you, we're, like Adam was saying, there's the next generations coming up that needs people to step up and to get into some action there. We have an opportunity that will be presented to you at the next business meeting about how we can further support Emmanuel here locally. I encourage you guys to take what has been said tonight to heart and to think about it when it's presented to you. Unfortunately, it was supposed to be tonight, but we're moving that to Wednesday. And I won't be here to stand up and go, yeah! But I know that based off what you guys have heard here tonight, that it's important. And I pray that we could meet the need. If there was one thing that I recognized as my time there is, if there's one thing that we can get behind, it is living that religious, pure religion that God sees as the most pure thing that we could do, is getting behind orphans in their distress and their need. So there's never it's never a bad thing for a church to get behind. It's never a bad thing for someone to try and do, is to support those young people. So I would love to pray for you guys and to let you out for this evening. But yes, we already got the dates for next year. June 26th to July the 4th. Once again, July 26th to July. You guys aren't taking out your calendars. Sorry, June 26th to July the 4th. June 26th to July the 4th. Come on, guys, take them out. Put it down there. Okay, you got it. Okay, good job. All right. Anyways, I'll be quiet. I would love to pray for you guys, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'll let Brian dismiss, or just go ahead and dismiss. So please bow your head and close your eyes, and we can dismiss. Father God, we just thank you for the testimonies given tonight. Thank you so much for Orphanage Emmanuel. Thank you so much for this wonderful church body that has been so wonderful to be in full support of letting us go and visit. And so I just thank you for the souls that, put their life aside to go and do that. So we just thank you for that, and I just thank you, and I pray for next year, and I pray for the coming challenge that we can meet the need that the orphanage has. So I pray for all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, guys.